morning from Beijing and welcome to a CGTN special coverage where we'll bring you on the latest on the construction of China's space station. The country is getting ready to send off its first crew of technonauts on the mission to build the Tiangong space station. Authorities will soon give a briefing about the upcoming launch. Well, Tiangong, which means Heavenly Palace, is expected to be fully operational by the end of this year. The Shenzhou-15 crew is the first batch of technonauts to travel to the space station in its completed T-shaped configuration after the last lab module docked with just about 4 weeks ago. And there, they will meet the Shenzhou-15 technonauts for the first space station crew handover. For the press conference, we'll bring you our reporters and live pictures from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwestern China, where preparations are in full swing. And here in our Beijing studio, we have with us Professor Jiuquan from the China Aerospace Science and Industry Cooperation. Well, as the Shenzhou-15 mission will send 3 more technonauts to China's space station, we are joined by our reporter Wu Lei at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwestern China. Well, hello there, Wu Lei. Brief us
Hello,
on
Hona.
some
we
highlights.
are now at the press conference at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, and at about 9 o'clock, there will be a press conference. The spokesperson of the China Manned Space Agency will announce some very key information. Here we can see some dozens of domestic and overseas media and are waiting here for the final name list of the Shenzhou-15 crew. And also we want to know some key information, including the exact launch time of the Long March 2F rocket, and also the whole world is watching who will be the Shenzhou-15 crew and how did they prepare the mission, what task will they do in their 6 months mission. And this time they will join the Shenzhou-14 crew in space. They will spend 6 months there, and this mission is the last one for the construction period for China space station. So the whole world will be watching, and we will be waiting for more detailed information in this press conference. And after this press conference, the Shenzhou-15 crew will meet the press at another conference, and we will bring you more with our live coverage here. Back to you, Hona.
Thank you, Wu Lei, for your updates from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. Appreciated. On Sunday, the China Manned Space Agency said the pre-launch tests for the Shenzhou-15 crewed mission have been completed. The Shenzhou-15 will launch 3 Chinese technonauts to the China space station for 6 months. They will join the 3-person Shenzhou-14 crew who are preparing to head back to Earth, while China's manned space program will also run 2 Shenzhou spacecraft concurrently for the first time. Well, the Long March 2F carrier rocket is China's only rocket to carry out manned missions. Well, based on the experience of previous launches, the Long March 2F carrier rocket has been integrated and optimized comprehensively.
We have improved adaptability of rocket takeoff time deviation. After adopting this technology, we can make corrections in the rocket's orbital parameters to automatically compensate for the time deviation during takeoff and ensure the accuracy of orbiting. In addition, we have upgraded the rocket's telemetry system transmitter and our navigation receiver so that the number of satellites received by our navigation receiver can be increased and our accuracy can be higher.
While we're waiting for the press conference, let's speak to our studio guest, Jiuquan from China Aerospace Science and Industry Cooperation. Great to have you in our studio, Professor Yang. Well, as we know, Shenzhou-15 is the final module to complete China's Tiangong space station. Well, how significant is the mission of the Shenzhou-15?
Well, you know that to construct our T-shaped station is not simply to combine the 3 modules together. We are having a lot of work to do. For instance, we must integrate the navigation guidance and control system together. We must integrate the environmental control and the life support system, and integrate the power supply system together. So all this work must be done by the Shenzhou-14 crew and by the Shenzhou-15 crew. So that is why we call the Shenzhou-15 mission the last manned mission in our construction phase. And the more important thing is that you see that in the future, in the operational phase of our Tiangong space station, the ordinary routine will be that the former crew before it go back to the Earth, the next crew will meet with them in our station. This is the most efficient way and the most reasonable way to hand over their tasks. So this time will be the first time in orbit handover. That is really meaningful and very, very necessary. But you see, for this kind of handover in orbit, there are a lot of technical challenges. So that is reason the Shenzhou-15 mission is so important, and also we must facing these kind of challenges.
Well, as you mentioned, technically, it's the first time that the China run the Shenzhou-14, 3 technonauts from Shenzhou-14 and 3 technonauts from Shenzhou-15 concurrently. So what are the major technical challenges there?
You know that we have an environmental control and life support system in the Tianhe-1 core module, and it is a regenerative system. This means that most of the resources can be recycled. For instance, the urine produced by the astronauts can be purified by what we call the vapor compression distillation device, very, very complex, and also continually to purified by the water recovery system, and then it is drinkable. And also the water can be used to produce the oxygen and hydrogen. The oxygen can be used for the breath of the astronaut, and hydrogen continue to be getting the oxygen or water from the carbon dioxide collected. So all these things can be recycled, and we have a very high efficiency. So you can see this is very, very complex, and you cannot ensure that during the more than 10-year operation they do not have any malfunction. So it is very important to have a backup system. That is why we have another independent regenerative life support system in the Wentian module. And moreover, you see that we have 3 another additional sleeping chambers in the Wentian module, and also another toilet. So this is a very important measure to ensure the normal handover. During this phase, there will be 6 astronauts on board our Tiangong space station, and also the amount of oxygen produced, the amount of urine processed by this system will be quite different comparing with the 3 astronauts. So that is the challenge we must face, and we must ensure that all these systems working properly. And also some spare parts were brought by the Tianzhou-5 cargo ship to the station, and we can have these kind of measures to ensure its normal operations.
So many challenges and so many interesting points to be discussed. We'll get back to you later in the program. With the China space station, Tiangong kicked off with the launch of its core module in April 2021. The construction's first phase involved the verification of the Tiangong's key technologies, which were accomplished by the Shenzhou-12 and Shenzhou-13 missions. The construction's second phase, the assembly of the Tiangong's other components, began this May. Our Zhang Dan has more.
3、2、1，点火！
The Tianzhou-4 cargo spaceship launched from China's Wenchang Space Launch Site is the first of the 6 China space station construction missions. The cargo ship ferried supplies and materials for the next manned spaceflight mission and the in-orbit assembly of the Tiangong China space station. Within a month, on June 5th, the Shenzhou-14 crew took off from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China, carrying Chen Dong, Liu Yang, and Cai Xuzhe. The most challenging tasks of the trio were to assist with the assembly of the Wentian and Mengtian laboratories during their 6-month sojourn in space. The first laboratory module, Wentian, was launched on July 24th. With the space lab moved into a radial port of the core module, the Tiangong formed an L shape. The Wentian lab module is designed mainly for experiments in space life sciences. The Taikonauts have used the lab and equipment to begin experiments on plants. The experiments are significant to meeting nutrition needs in space.
The research on the theocress and rice will provide insight into how to grow vegetables and grains in space, so as to facilitate mass production in space in the future.
The main function of the airlock on the Wentian lab module is for conducting extravehicular activity, or EVA. The Shenzhou-14 crew's EVA, also known as spacewalks, were conducted using the Wentian's airlock for entry and exit into the space station. During the spacewalks, a series of tasks were completed, including installing equipment on the exterior of Tiangong, and demonstrating vital emergency return capabilities.
For the emergency rescue trial from outside the space station, our testing has become more difficult. The taikonaut who was rescued this time has also shown great courage because he had to let go of the rails in space. He had completely dependent on another person.
The second laboratory module, Mengtian, was launched on October 31st. The lab will also carry out space science and application experiments. However, unlike the Wentian, its airlock is mainly for the automatic entry and exit of cargo and equipment. After completing the transposition maneuver of the Mengtian module on November 3rd, the T-shaped structure of China's space station was formed. With the Tiangong space station's T-shaped structure now completed in orbit, the Tiangong is expected to operate for at least a decade, or possibly even longer.
3、2、1，点火！点火！
With the Shenzhou-15 crew stay in orbit coming to an end, another resupplying mission, the Jiuquan, was launched in preparation for the next manned mission. This was also a breakthrough because it was the first time that Chinese astronauts witnessed the arrival of a cargo craft at the country's space station.
Well, Professor Yang, let's back to the candidates of the 3 technauts, which we'll see later in a program. So tell us about the criteria of selecting the technauts this time. How is it different from previous missions?
Well, you see that considering the conditions the astronauts facing, it is a common requirement. You see that's the most critical or the most dangerous part of the mission is during the liftoff. And also during the landing. And also during these courses, the astronaut must experience very intensive vibration and also the G-forces. So the astronauts, whatever their mission is, they must facing these kind of conditions and they must be trained to adapt with these kind of conditions. But moreover, you see that every mission is different. For instance, some of the missions will conducting the EVA or extravehicular activities, so that they must be trained and also be trained in the water neutral buoyancy pool underwater, and this is a really tough training for all these astronauts, including men and women. And also the more different thing is that their task in EVA is also quite different. You see, for the Shenzhou-15 mission, because you know that this crew not only the witness of the construction of the station, but they also ensure the safety of the construction. For instance, during the coming of the Wentian and the Mengtian module, usually we adopt the automatic docking as a major measure. But if any wrong happen to the automatic docking system, the astronauts of Shenzhou-15 crew, they will switch to the manual docking mode. So they must be trained for these courses and prepare for any uncertainty. But you see that for the Shenzhou-15 crew, because we already have the Wentian and Mengtian module docked to the station, so it is not necessary to have them trained of these kind of things. So this is quite different. Moreover, you see that the transposition of the Wentian and Mengtian module transfer from the front docking port to the side berthing port to form the T-shaped condition. You see that that we never do this before, this kind of transposition. So these kind of things also have great uncertainty. To ensure the safety, we must have another backup measure, which means we use the big robotic arm as a backup. If the mechanism for the transfer failed, we must use the robotic arm to operate and then conduct the transfer. During these courses, the astronaut of the Shenzhou-15 crew will monitor the whole process or even operate the robotic arm directly. So they must be trained for this kind of operations. This is also unique. And for the Shenzhou-15 crew, this is not necessary. But for the Shenzhou-15 crew, there will be more scientific experiments. They must be trained for these kind of things.
As you've mentioned the EVA, the extravehicular activities. So you mean the 3 technauts from the Shenzhou-15 crew have already conducted the EVA like 2 weeks ago. So the 3 technauts from the Shenzhou-15, will they conduct the same activities, or will they conduct the different missions?
Absolutely, they will have EVA, because you know that EVA is so important. It is very necessary not only for the construction of the station, for the maintenance of the station and repair, but also for the scientific research. So I believe that there will be multiple times of EVA during the Shenzhou-15 mission. And you know that we are still in the construction phase of our station. For instance, you may notice that during the from the Shenzhou-12 to the Shenzhou-14 crew, each time during the EVA, way, they raise the position of the panoramic camera because during the launch, because of the limitation of the envelope of the payload fairing, they do not have the enough space.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Yang. We'll get back to you later in the program. And let's go to the press conference site where the China's engineers will announce the 3 tachonauts.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends from the media, good morning.
昨天，任务总指挥部召开会议，研究确定了神舟15号飞船发射计划和航天员飞行乘组。
Yesterday, the mission headquarters held a meeting to evaluate and confirm the launching plan of Shenzhou-15 spacecraft and its crew members.
今天，我们邀请到中国载人航天工程新闻发言人、中国载人航天工程办公室主任助理季启明先生，给大家介绍情况，并回答各位感兴趣的问题。
Today, we are pleased to have Mr. Ji Qiming, spokesperson of China Manned Space Program and Assistant Director General of China Manned Space Program Agency, to brief you about the relevant information and answer your questions.
首先，请季启明主任助理介绍任务有关情况。
Now, I will pass the floor to Mr. Ji Qiming.
各位媒体记者朋友们，大家上午好。
Friends from the media, good morning.
受任务总指挥部委托，由我向大家介绍神舟15号载人飞行任务有关情况。
As commissioned by the mission headquarters, I take this chance to brief you about the Shenzhou-15 manned spaceflight mission.
经总指挥部研究决定，瞄准北京时间11月29日23时08分发射神舟15号载人飞船，飞行乘组由航天员费俊龙、邓清明和张璐组成，费俊龙担任指令长。
As evaluated and decided by the mission headquarters, Shenzhou-15 manned spaceship is targeted to launch at 23:08, November 29th, Beijing time. Crew members are Fei Junlong, Deng Qingming, and Zhang Lu, with Fei Junlong as the mission commander.
航天员费俊龙参加过神舟6号载人飞行任务，航天员邓清明、张璐都是首次飞行。目前执行此次发射任务的长征2号 F 遥15火箭即将开始推进剂加注。
Astronaut Fei Junlong has flown Shenzhou-6 manned spaceflight mission. Astronauts Deng Qingming and Zhang Lu will this time have their first spaceflight. Currently, Long March 2 F-115 carrier rocket will be filled with propellant for this mission.
这次任务是载人航天工程今年的第6次飞行任务，也是空间站建造阶段最后一次飞行任务。航天员乘组将在轨工作生活6个月。
This mission is the 6th of this year's manned spaceflight and the last one of the space station construction phase. The crew will work and live for 6 months on orbit.
任务的主要目的为验证空间站支持乘组能换能力，实现航天员乘组首次在轨能换。
Following main objectives are set for the mission: verification of the space station's capability to support the crew handover, achieving the first crew handover on orbit.
开展空间站舱内外设备及空间应用任务相关设施设备的安装与调试，进行空间科学实验与技术实验。
Installation and commissioning of facilities and equipment inside and outside the space station, and those relevant to space applications, carrying out space science experiments and technology testing.
进行空间站日常的维护维修，验证空间站3舱组合体常态化运行模式。
Carrying out routine maintenance and repairs of the space station, verification of the regular operation mode of the space station, 3-module combination.
按计划，神舟15号载人飞船入轨后， 将采用自主快速交会对接模式，对接于天河核心舱前向端口，形成3舱3船的组合体。这是中国空间站目前的最大构型，总质量近100吨。
According to the plan, Shenzhou-15 spacecraft will execute, after entering the orbit, the first autonomous rendezvous and docking procedures. The spacecraft will dock with a forward pole of the Tianhe core module to form a 3-module and 3-ship combination, which is by far the largest configuration of China's space station, with a total mass of near 100 tons.
在轨驻留期间，神舟15号航天员乘组将迎来天舟6号货运飞船、神舟16号载人飞船的来访对接，计划于明年5月返回东风着陆场。
During the stay, the Shenzhou-15 crew will welcome the visiting of Tianzhou-6 cargo ship and handover of Shenzhou-16 manned spaceship. The crew are planned to return to the Dongfeng landing site in May next year.
目前，空间站组合体状态和各项设备工作正常，具备交会对接与航天员乘组的能换条件。
Currently, the space station combination is in stable status, with all equipment functioning well, ready for the rendezvous and docking and the crew handover.
神舟15号载人飞船和长征2号 F 遥15运载火箭产品质量受控，神舟15号航天员乘组状态良好，地面系统设施设备运行稳定，发射前各项准备工作已基本就绪。
Product qualities of Shenzhou-15 spaceship and Long March 2 F-115 carrier rocket are under control. The Shenzhou-15 crew is in good condition. Facilities and equipment of ground systems perform well. All pre-launch preparations are in order.
神舟14号航天员乘组计划于1周内完成在轨轮换任务，返回东风着陆场。
Shenzhou-14 crew plans to complete the on-orbit handover in a week, and then returns to the Dongfeng landing site.
以上是这次任务的基本情况，下面我愿意回答大家的提问。
This is the brief of the mission. Now, I'm glad to answer your questions.
好，下面请媒体朋友们提问。好，第3排的这位女记者。
谢谢主持人。发言人你好，我是新华社记者。神舟15号航天员是空间站3舱组合体组装完成后到访的第一个乘组，请问他们的主要任务是什么？谢谢。
I'm with Xinhua. Shenzhou-15 astronauts are the first crew to visit after the completion of the on-orbit construction of the 3-module space station. What are their main tasks?
感谢您的提问。
Thanks for your question.
神舟15号飞行任务是中国空间站建造阶段的最后一棒，也是空间站应用与发展阶段的第一棒，具有承前启后的重要作用。
Shenzhou-15 mission is the last one in the construction stage of China's space station and the first one in the application and development stage of the space station, which plays an important role in linking the past and the future.
任务期间，神舟15号乘组将重点开展6个方面工作：一是开展空间站3舱状态长期驻留的验证工作。
During the mission, the Shenzhou-15 crew will focus on 6 aspects. First, the verification of the long-term residence of the 3rd module state of the space station.
二是完成15个科学实验机柜解锁、安装和测试，开展空间科学研究与应用、航天医学、航天技术等领域的40余项空间科学实验和技术试验。
The second is to complete the unlocking, installation, and testing of 15 scientific experiment racks, and carry out more than 40 space science experiments and technical testing in the field of space science, research and application, space medicine, space technology, etc.
三是实施3到4次出舱活动，完成梦天舱扩展泵组和载荷暴露平台设备安装等工作。
Third, carry out 3 to 4 EVAs and complete the installation of Mengtian module, extended pump sets, payload exposure, platform equipment, etc.
4是验证货物稽查舱出舱工作模式，与地面协同完成6次货物出舱任务。
Fourth, verify the cargo out working mode of the cargo airlock module and cooperate with the ground to complete 6 cargo out tasks.
5是开展常态化的平台测试、维护及站务管理工作。
Fifth, to perform regular platform testing, maintenance, and station affairs management.
6是开展在轨健康防护锻炼、在轨训练与演练等工作。谢谢。
Six, carry out on-orbit health protection exercises, on-orbit training and drills, etc. Thank you.
好，下一个问题。好，第3排的这位外国朋友。
Yes, Keith Bradshaw, New York Times. Will any astronauts from other countries also go to the Chinese space station, perhaps to operate their experiments? And has China already begun training any astronauts from other countries to go to its space station? Thank you.
您好，我是纽约时报记者。其他国家的航天员也会到中国空间站进行他们的实验吗？中国是否会培训其他国家的航天员？
谢谢您对中国空间站的关注。
Thanks for your concern for China Space Station.
探索未知的宇宙，发展航天技术，是人类共同的事业。国际合作是航天发展的趋势潮流。
To explore the unknown universe and develop space technology is the common cause of human beings, and international cooperation is the trend of space development.
在中国空间站研制建设过程中，我们始终坚持和平利用、平等互利、共同发展的原则，与多个航天机构和国际组织开展了形式多样的交流与合作。
During the development and construction of China's space station, we have always adhered to the principles of peaceful utilization, equality, mutual benefit, and common development, and have carried out various exchanges and cooperation with many space agencies and international organizations.
目前，与联合国外空司、欧洲空间局共同遴选的多个空间科学应用项目正在按计划实施，相关载荷将于明年开始陆续进入中国空间站开始实验。
Currently, a number of space science application projects jointly selected by the UN-WUSA and ESA are being implemented as planned, and related payloads will be launched on China's space station for experiments next year.
空间站进入到应用发展阶段后，我们将继续秉承开放共享的发展理念，与致力于和平利用外空的国家和地区一道，开展更多、更深入的务实合作，让中国空间站的科学技术成果造福全人类。
After the space station enters the application and development phase, we will continue to adhere to the development concept of openness and sharing, and carry out more and deeper pragmatic cooperation with countries and regions committed to the peaceful utilization of outer space, so that the scientific and technological achievements of China's space station will benefit all mankind.
对于其他国家的航天员进入中国空间站开展实验，我们一直持欢迎态度。
We always welcome astronauts from other countries to enter China's space station to conduct experiments.
目前已有多个国家向我们提出了选派航天员 参与中国空间站飞行任务的需求。我们与相关方面也正在开展对接协调，同时也在积极进行培训国外航天员的相关准备工作。谢谢。
Currently, many countries have put forward to us their needs to send astronauts to participate in the flight mission of China's space station. We are actively coordinating with relevant parties, and meanwhile, we are also actively carrying out relevant preparations for training international astronauts.
好，下一个问题。好，第二排这位女记者。
谢谢主持人，发言人您好，我是中央广播电视总台中国之声的记者。我想请问，神舟14号航天员乘组已经在轨工作生活了半年之久，请问他们的工作完成情况怎么样？下一步在返回之前，他们还有哪些任务需要做？谢谢。
With Voice of China (CNR), the Shenzhou-15 crew has been working and living on orbit for nearly half a year. How is their task accomplished? What other jobs are there before their returning?
感谢你对神舟14号乘组的关心。
Thank you for your concern for the Shenzhou-15 crew.
今年6月5日，神舟14号飞船发射入轨，目前航天员乘组已在轨工作生活176天。
On June 5th this year, Shenzhou-15 spacecraft was launched into orbit. Until now, astronauts have been working and living on orbit for 76 days.
神舟14号乘组在轨任务安排饱满，可以说是空间站任务实施以来的最忙乘组。
Shenzhou-15 crew has a full schedule of on-orbit missions, which can be cited to be the busiest crew since the implementation of the space station mission.
任务期间，乘组与地面配合，完成了空间站T 子基本构型的组装建造，经历了9种组合体构型、5次交会对接、2次分离撤离和2次转位任务，见证了诸多中国载人航天的历史时刻。
During the mission, the crew cooperated with the ground team to complete the assembly and construction of the T-shaped structure of space station. The crew experienced 9 combination formations, 5 rendezvous and docking, 2 departures and evacuations, and 2 transposition tasks. And they witnessed many historical moments of China's manned spaceflight.
神舟14号任务期间，乘组开展了大量空间站平台巡检测试、设备维护、维修验证、物资管理和站务管理等工作。
During the Shenzhou-15 mission, the crew carried out a large number of space station platform patrol tests, equipment maintenance and repairs, material management, and station affairs management.
进行了2个试验舱、多个试验机柜的解锁安装，按计划实施了多项科学实验与技术实验，完成了1次天宫课堂的太空授课。
They unlocked and installed several experiment racks in 2 lab modules. A number of scientific experiments and technical testing were carried out as planned, and the space lecture in Tiangong classroom was completed.
在这一过程中，中国载人航天又创造了多个首次，首次实现2个20吨级的航天器在轨交会对接。
In this process, China's manned spaceflight has achieved a number of firsts. The first time 20-ton spacecraft have rendezvous and docked on orbit.
首次实现空间站舱段转位。
The first time to realize the space station module transposition.
航天员乘组首次进入问天梦天实验舱，开启中国人太空3居室时代。
The first time that an astronaut crew entered the Wentian and Mengtian lab module, opening the 3-bedroom era of China's space adventure.
首次实现 货运飞船2小时自主快速交会对接，创造了世界纪录。
The first time to realize the 2-hour fast autonomous rendezvous and docking of cargo ship, setting a world record.
首次利用气闸舱实施航天员出舱活动，并创造了1次飞行任务3次出舱的记录。
First time that the airlock module is used to carry out astronauts' EVAs, and it has created a record of 3 EVAs in one flight.
首次使用组合机械臂支持航天员出舱活动。
The first time to use the combined robotic arm to support astronauts' extravehicular activities.
航天员乘组首次在轨迎来货运飞船的来访。
The first time that the astronaut crew welcomed the visiting of a cargo ship on orbit.
此外，即将首次开展飞行乘组的在轨轮换，迎来6名中国航天员同时在轨飞行的历史时刻。
Plus, the on-orbit crew handover will be carried out for the first time, ushering in the historical moment of 6 Chinese astronauts flying on orbit at the same time.
按照计划，神舟14号乘组返回前还有不少工作要做，他们要把空间站设置为6人在轨模式，为新乘组的入驻做好相关准备。
According to the plan, there is still a lot of work to be done before Shenzhou-15 crew returns. They will set the space station to a 6-person on-orbit mode to prepare for the new crews moving in.
乘组轮换期间，主要完成空间站组合体与物资状态以及实验项目的工作交接。
During the crew handover, they mainly complete the work handover of the space station assembly, material status, and experiment projects.
同时，神舟14号乘组还将为返回地面继续开展相关针对性的准备工作。谢谢。
At the same time, Shenzhou-15 crew will continue to carry out relevant targeted preparations for returning to the ground. Thank you.
好，下一个问题，第5排的这位男记者。
谢谢主持人。发言人您好，我是人民日报社记者。我们知道啊，在短短不到2年的时间当中啊，中国空间站的梯子基本构型就已经是组装完成。那在这里呢，我想请问您如何评价中国空间站的整个构造过程，以及中国载人航天是怎么做到的？谢谢。
With People's Daily, in less than 2 years, the T-shaped structure of China's space station has been assembled. How do you evaluate the whole process of space station, and how did China's manned spaceflight achieve it? Thank you.
正如您所说，从2021年4月天河核心舱发射到此次神舟15号任务，中国载人航天在19个月内密集实施11次发射、2次飞船的返回、7次航天员出舱、4个乘组、12名航天员接续在轨工作，如期完成空间站 T 字基本构型的组装建造。
As you said, from April 2021, when Tianhe core module was launched to the coming Shenzhou-15 mission, within 19 months, China manned spaceflight intensively carried out 11 launches, 2 spacecraft returns, 7 astronaut EVAs, and 12 astronauts from 4 flight crews continuously stay on orbit, completing the assembly and construction of the T-shape of space station on schedule.
整个过程环环相扣，一气呵成，堪称完美，展现了中国载人航天30年发展的厚重积淀和强大实力，跑出了新时代中国航天发展的加速度。
The whole process was interlocking, complete, and perfect. It demonstrates the accumulation of experiences and strengths of the 30-year development of China manned spaceflight, and the acceleration of China's space development in the new era.
至于您问的这是怎么做到的，我理解主要有以下方面的原因。
As for your question, I reckon that there are mainly the following reasons.
首先，靠的是党中央的集中统一领导。
First of all, it depends on the centralized and unified leadership of the CPC Central Committee.
党的18大以来，习近平总书记对空间站建造高度重视，亲切关怀，在天河核心舱发射成功后，第一时间发来贺电，与神舟12号航天员乘组亲切天地通话，在空间站建造的关键阶段，提出精心准备、精心组织、精心实施，确保发射任务圆满成功的指示要求，这些为工程全线奋勇拼搏、夺取成功提供了根本遵循和强大的动力。
Since the 18th CPC National Congress, the General Secretary Xi Jinping attached great importance to the construction of the space station and kindly cared for it. He sent a congratulation message at the first time after the successful launch of Tianhe core module and had a cordial conversation with Shenzhou-15 astronauts. At the critical stage of the construction of the space station, he put forward the instruction requirements of careful preparation, careful organization, and careful implementation to ensure the complete success of the launch mission, which provided fundamental compliance and strong motivation for the whole project team to work hard and win success.
其次，靠的是新型举国体制的制度优势，全国数千家单位、几十万科研人员大力协同，极致攻关，凝聚了保成功、促发展的强大合力。
Secondly, relying on the institutional advantages of the new nationwide mechanism, thousands of institutions and several hundred thousand scientists and researchers all over the country have made great efforts to coordinate and gather wisdom to tackle key problems, which has condensed a strong joint force to ensure the success and promote the development.
第三，工程发展始终坚持自立自强、自主创新，突破掌握了一大批具有自主知识产权的核心关键技术，部组件和核心元器件国产化率达到100%，走出了一条中国特色的载人航天发展道路。
Third, the development of the project has always adhered to self-reliance and independent innovation, breaking through and mastering a large number of key technologies with independent intellectual property rights, and the localization rate of components and core components has reached 100%, thus embarking on a manned spaceflight development road with China characteristics.
第四，靠的是科学高效的工程专项管理，始终坚持系统工程理论指导，强化顶层设计与总体先行，坚持技术进度与资源的有机统一，坚持质量第一、安全至上，确保空间站建造任务高效推进、连战连捷。
Fourth, scientific and efficient spatial project management, always adhering to the guidance of system engineering theory, strengthening type-level design and overall advancement, adhering to the organic unity of technology, progress, and resources, and insisting on quality first and safety first, ensures the efficient advancement and continuous success of the space station construction task.
第五，靠的是精神传承和优良作风，工程全线坚持弘扬两弹一星和载人航天精神，不怕吃苦，迎难而上，顽强攻关，无私奉献。
Fifth, we rely on spiritual inheritance and exemplary conduct. The The whole project insists on carrying forward the spirit of 2 bombs and 1 satellite and manned spaceflight, not afraid of hardships, facing up to the challenges, tackling key problems tenaciously, and making selfless contributions.
特别是近3年来，克服新冠疫情带来的重重困难，确保了空间站建造任务顺利实施、如期完成。谢谢。
Especially in the recent 3 years, we have made every effort to overcome the difficulties caused by the COVID-19 and ensure the smooth implementation and completion of the space station construction task on schedule. Thank you.
好，下一个问题。好，这位女记者。
您好，我是中国航天报记者。请问我们什么时候能看到第3批航天员飞天呢？能否透露一下他们现在的训练准备情况？谢谢。
With China Space News, when can we see the 3rd batch of astronauts on orbit? And could you tell us about their current training preparation? Thank you.
感谢你对航天员队伍的关注。
Thanks for your concern for the astronaut crew.
我国于2020年10月完成第3批18名预备航天员的选拔，包括7名驾驶员、7名飞行工程师、4名载荷专家。
In October 2020, China completed the selection of the 3rd batch of 18 preparatory astronauts, including 7 pilots, 7 engineers, and 4 payload experts.
按照航天员训练大纲，第3批航天员需开展8大类、近100项、400余个科目的训练。经过2年多的刻苦努力，目前已完成了全部基础科目的训练和大部分专业技术科目的训练内容。
According to the astronaut training program, the 3rd batch astronauts need to carry out training in 8 categories, nearly 100 subjects, and more than 400 courses. After more than 2 years of hard work, all basic subjects and most professional and technical training contents have been completed.
按照空间站应用与发展阶段后续任务的规划，部分第3批航天员已开始后续任务的针对性训练。
According to the follow-up mission planning of the application and development stage of the space station, some of the 3rd batch astronauts have started targeted training for follow-up missions.
不久将来，他们将会陆续加入空间站任务的飞行乘组，并逐渐成为主力军。谢谢。
In the near future, they will join the flight crew to perform the space station mission and gradually become the main force. Thank you.
好，下一个问题。第4排的这位记者。
好，谢谢主持人，我是中央广播电视总台央视记者。刚刚听到发言人介绍了很多我们中国空间站，包括神15乘组的相关情况，可以说我们建造空间站的目标即将实现了。很多朋友也很关心我们中国航天员他们探索太空的新征程，比如未来他们什么时候会登上月球吗？谢谢。
With CMG, as you have said, the Shenzhou-15 crew has a lot of information to present to us. At present, the goal of building a space station will soon be achieved. When will Chinese land on the moon?
中国载人航天探索的脚步不会只停留在近地轨道，一定会飞得更稳、更远。
China's footsteps in manned space exploration will not only stay in low Earth orbit. We will surely fly further and more steadily in the future.
月球是人类拓展和开发利用地外空间的理想基地和前哨站，月球探索也一直是当今世界载人航天发展的热点和焦点。
The moon is an ideal base and outpost for human beings to expand, develop, and utilize extraterrestrial space. Lunar exploration has always been the hotspot and focus of manned spaceflight development in the world today.
按照我国政府批准的发展战略，我们已经完成了载人月球探测关键技术攻关和方案的深化论证。
According to the development strategy approved by our government, we have carried out key technical research and deepening the validation of the manned lunar exploration project.
通过前一阶段的工作，突破了新一代载人飞船、新一代载人运载火箭、月面着陆器、登月服等关键技术，形成了具有中国特色的载人登月任务实施方案。
Through the work in the previous stage, the key technologies such as the new generation manned spacecraft, new generation manned launch vehicle, the lunar lander, and the lunar landing suite have been broken through. The implementation plan of the manned lunar landing mission with China characteristics has been formed.
这些工作为载人月球探测工程奠定了坚实的基础。应该说，我们已经具备开展工程实施的条件。我相信，中国人9天揽月的梦想将在不远将来成为现实。谢谢。
These works have laid a solid foundation for the manned lunar exploration project and have already met the conditions for the full implementation of the project. I believe the dream of Chinese people to embrace the moon from the ninth heaven will come true in the near future. Thank you.
好，下面最后一个问题。好，第6排的记者。
您好，发言人，我是澳门日报记者。据报道，第4批预备航天员选拔工作已于近期启动，并首次在港澳地区选拔载荷专家。能否介绍一下这方面的工作进展情况？谢谢。
With Macau-Daily News, it is reported that the selection of the 4th batch of preparatory astronauts has started, and it is the first time to select payload experts in Hong Kong and Macau. Would you please inform us on the current progress?
谢谢您的提问。
Thanks for your question.
为满足载人航天工程后续发展的需要，我国第4批预备航天员选拔已于今年9月全面启动，计划选拔12到14名预备航天员，并首次在港澳地区选拔载荷专家。
In order to meet the requirements of the follow-up missions of manned spaceflight projects, the selection of the 4th batch of preparatory astronauts in China has been launched in September 2022. It is planned to select 12 to 14 preparatory astronauts and for the first time select payload experts in Hong Kong and Macau.
预备航天员选拔分为初选、复选和定选3个阶段实施，目前正在开展初选阶段的工作。
Generally speaking, the selection of preparatory astronauts is divided into 3 stages: primary selection, reselection, and final selection. At present, we are carrying out the primary selection.
选拔实施以来，港澳特区政府周密组织，有关科研机构全力协助，港澳广大民众反响热烈。
With support from relevant scientific research institutions, the Hong Kong and Macau governments have carefully organized the selection, and the Hong Kong and Macau public has responded enthusiastically.
来自生物医学工程、机械电子、材料、化学、天文等多个专业领域的科研人员与高校老师踊跃报名，目前已完成候选者基本条件的筛选，正在组织临床医学检查， 各项工作进展顺利。
Researchers and university faculties from biomedical engineering, mechanical electronics, materials, chemistry, astronomy, and other professional fields have signed up. At present, we have completed the selection of candidates according to their basic information, and we are organizing the clinical medical examinations. Our work is progressing smoothly.
我们十分期待在第4批预备航天员队伍中能够看到港澳航天员的身影。谢谢。
We are very much looking forward to seeing Hong Kong and Macau astronauts in the 4th batch astronauts. Thank you.
好，感谢季启明先生的介绍和回答。关于工程建设和后续任务的最新进展，我们将通过新闻媒体和载人航天工程官方网站继续发布。感谢大家对中国载人航天事业的关注和支持。新闻发布会就到这里，让我们共同预祝任务圆满成功。谢谢。
Thanks for Mr. Ji Qiming's introduction and answering. With the development of space station mission, we will continue to post relevant information through media and the official website of CMSA. Appreciations for your attention and support to China's manned space program. The press conference will end here. Let's wish the mission a great success. Thank you.
That's Chinese authorities briefing the media on the upcoming Shenzhou-15 manned crew mission. Well, they've introduced the 3 technauts to be chosen as the people to be sent off to the Tiangong space station. They are Fei Junlong, Deng Qingming, and Zhang Lu. And the Shenzhou-15 crew is the first batch of technauts to travel to the space station in its completed T-shaped configuration after the last lab module docked just about 4 weeks ago. For more discussions, let's get back to our studio guest, Yang Yuguang from China Aerospace Science and Industry Cooperation. Welcome back, Professor Yang. Well, let's talk about the lineup of the 3 technauts, Fei Junlong, Deng Qingming, and Zhang Lu. Let's talk a little bit about Fei Junlong, who is one of the 5 candidates for China's first manned mission, the Shenzhou-15. Together with he has been trained together with Yang Liwei, the first manned mission. So tell us about the commander, Fei Junlong. How has been chosen as the commander this time?
Well, you know that Mr. Fei Junlong is not only the commander of this mission, but also the commander of the Shenzhou-6 mission. During the Shenzhou-6 mission in 2005, Mr. Fei Junlong and Mr. Nie Haisheng stayed in the Shenzhou-6 manned spaceship for about 5 days in outer space. So that is a really important mission during the first phase of China's manned space program to test the crew transportation technology from the ground to the outer space and then going back. So he is an experienced astronaut of China, and it is reasonable to have him as the commander of the Shenzhou-15 this time.
So the combination of the 3 technauts is 1 experienced or veteran technauts and 2 new, completely new astronauts who have no experience flying to the space. So let's talk a little bit about Deng Qingming, who was born in, who was 56 years old. So how are the mission split into 3 technauts? How will they conduct spacewalks or EVA? Will they have different missions?
Well, you know, that's what touching me most is Mr. Deng Qingming. You know that Mr. Deng Qingming belongs to the first batch of Chinese astronauts. And you know that there are several astronauts of the first batch who have already retired but never have the chance to have a real flight mission before.
He was always a backup.
He was the last one who is still in service but do not have ever been to outer space. So he has waiting for more than 24 years, and during these years he just conducted the training and training and training. You know that even his daughter has already become a colleague of ours. So this really touched me very much. So I believe that congratulations to Mr. Deng Qingmen, and his dream has already come true this time.
At the age of 56.
Exactly. So really great congratulations to him. And you know that Mr. Zhang Lu belongs to the second batch, also the last one during the second batch of our astronauts who will conduct the space mission this time. You know that you know what you mentioned, this crew is quite different from the former crews. You know that during the Shenzhou-12, Shenzhou-13, and the Shenzhou-14 mission, we always have 2 veterans and a newcomer. This is because you know that in the technology demonstration phase and also during the construction phase, we must facing so many challenges. So it is reasonable to have 2 veterans. But this time, because we've already formed the T-shape and the most critical part of the construction has already been conducted, so it is reasonable to have only one veterans.
Okay, let's get a little bit more information about the 3 astronauts to a space station. Fei Junlong, Deng Qingming, and Zhang Lu will take off on the Shenzhou-15 spacecraft. 57-year-old Fei Junlong is a pilot and astronaut. He was chosen as a member of China's first team of astronauts in 1998, and he was one of the 5 candidates for China's first manned mission, the Shenzhou-15, while Fei commanded the Shenzhou-6 mission in 2005. Well, Deng Qingming is 56 years old. He was chosen for China's first team of astronauts in 1998 and has served as a backup space crew member for more than 20 years. He was a backup crew member of the Shenzhou-9 and Shenzhou-10's and Shenzhou-11's mission, where the Shenzhou-15 mission will be his first space flight. And also, Zhang Lu was born in November 1976. He joined the 2nd Astronauts Corps of the People's Liberation Army in 2010. The Shenzhou-15 mission will be his first space flight. Well, it is the first time that both the 3 astronauts from Shenzhou-14 and 3 astronauts from Shenzhou-15 work together in the orbit. So tell us more about the challenges there. Will they appear same time in the T-shaped construction there?
Yes. Exactly. You know that there are 2 aspects. First, you know that we have so many scientific research on board station, especially when the Mengtian module comes to station. There are so many scientific research racks. So to operating these racks will be a very challenging task for them. And the more important thing is that usually one experiment cannot be completed before the end of the one crew, the turn of one crew. So it is very necessary they hand over their tasks face to face. This will be the most efficient way. Moreover, you see that not only the scientific research, but also the maintenance of the whole station is a very, very complicated task. So they hand over or deliver their, you mean that the status of the station and what part has already in malfunction, and we must pay attention to what kind of things they must hand over these kind of issues face to face. So that will be very, very necessary and to ensure the safety of the station for the normal operations.
Well, what do you make of the timing of the launch? The official announced that they will be launched tomorrow night at the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, and according to weather forecast, there will be extremely low temperatures below 20 degrees Celsius. So is extremely low temperatures favorable conditions or less favorable conditions for the launch?
Absolutely, low temperature is not a favorable condition, but we don't have many choices. You know that's the basic requirement for launching the spacecraft into the orbit and rendezvous with the space station is that the Shenzhou-15 must be launched when the orbit of the Tiangong space station is rotating and it's passing through the orbital plane of the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. So they must be in the same orbital plane. This is the most restricted requirement to the launch. So we must launch during this moment. So that's why we call this a zero launch window. And you see that it is in low temperature, but it's not a big problem because we do have this kind of launch in November or December before.
It is not a big problem, but definitely it's a huge challenge for the whole launch system. And let's talk a little bit about the Long March 2F carrier rocket, which has been modified or optimized each time for each mission. So tell us about the new modifications this time around.
Well, you know that before this mission, the Shenzhou-15 and together with the Long March 2F Y-15 rocket has already stand in the vehicle assembly building for more than 6 months. So this is a really toughing condition we must face. So we must conducting checking periodically. So this is really important to ensure the safety and the reliability of the whole combination. Moreover, you see that that's the original requirement of the reliability of the Long March 2F is 0.97. Which means that for 100 launches, we must have only 3 times facing any danger. And also because of we have the emergency escape system, this figure can reach to 0.997. In this case, as you mentioned, we have many improvement, and the reliability also raised to a much higher level, so we can ensure the safety of the astronauts during this launch.
All 6 astronauts in the orbit at the same time. This is definitely historical breaking ground. And tell us about how many days are they going to spend together in the orbit?
Well, usually this depends on the arrangement of the ground control. Usually they will stay in orbit for 5 to 7 days for the handover. You know that because the design of our Tiangong space station can only support the 6 crew members for a short period for the handover of their tasks, and then the Shenzhou-15 will go back to the Earth. And in most of the cases, the 3 astronauts will stay in the station for half a year.
So tell us about what is like for the handover. I mean, what is it like? Is it like a chat or hey, hi, I'm going down, I'm going back to Earth, or so what is the handover like?
They will be really busy. You see that one of the important tasks for the Shenzhou-15 crew is unpacking the packages, either in the Tianzhou-5 cargo spacecraft, either in the Wentian module or in the Mengtian module. And the Shenzhou-15 will continue this task. So the Shenzhou-14 crew must tell the Shenzhou-15 crew which package has already been unpacked and what these kind of things are located. So this is really important. And also the status of the scientific research racks, they must telling the Shenzhou-15 crew what it is, and also what they have already done to these kind of things. And also the status of the control panels of the either in the Tianhe-1 core module or in the Wentian module or in the Mengtian module. These kind of things are really, really complex. And also I believe they will be really, really busy.
A very busy process of
Exactly.
taking over. And there is one interesting question from the New York Times. Well, one reporter from New York Times asked, will China send foreign astronauts to Tiangong space station, or will China train foreign astronauts in the coming future? So is that a possible scenario in the coming future?
Quite possible. As said by the announcer, you see that we've already contacted with the foreign space agencies and also preparing for the training of foreign astronauts in China. So you know that these kind of examples have already happened before, several years before in rescue training in the in Yantai, just near the Yantai in the sea. So we conducted this training with the attendance of the Italian girl Samantha Cristoforetti, and also the German astronauts Matthias Moria. And it is amazing that they've already learned Chinese and they can speak very fluent Chinese. So this is a very good example for the future preparation of the visiting of China's Tiangong space station by the foreign astronauts.
So the Tiangong space station will be completed at the end of this year. So how do you evaluate the significance of the completion of the Tiangong space station?
Well, you know that China is a big country in space field, but our purpose is to become an advanced country in space field. To complete the construction of the Tiangong space station and also conducting its normal operation will be a very, very important criteria to becoming an advanced country in space field for China. And also, moreover, you see that as you have already asked about the international cooperation, you know that according to the announcement of the China officials, the international cooperation is a very, very important part to becoming an advanced country. And the Tiangong space station is a really important platform for these kind of international corporations.
Let's take a wild guess. When would China send its first manned mission to the moon?
You know that my friend Ms. Wang Yaping, also the Shenzhou-13 crew member, has expressed her wish many times to the major media of China to have work on the moon in the future. And I can congratulate her to eat mooncake on the moon. You know that as the announcer said, we already completed the preparation phase and also the key technology research for the field moon mission. So sooner or later we can see the Chinese astronauts walk on the moon. To complete this, we must prepare the new generation manned spaceship. Actually speaking, the rudiment of this manned spaceship has already been tested during the maiden flight of the Long March 5B in 2020, and also the lander, the human-rated moon lander, and also the new generation human-rated launch vehicle will also be very, very critical for this manned mission to the moon. And we've already tested the rocket engines for this new generation launch vehicle.
Well, the sky is definitely not the limit for our human beings. Thank you very much, Professor Yang Guang from China Aerospace Science and Industry Cooperation. Appreciate it. We'll get back to you later in our special coverage.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Well, that's it for our special coverage on the upcoming Shenzhou-15 mission. Please stay tuned for more. Thank you very much for coming.